What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 1 of The Breakdown. Cue dance music.
Please don't.
Jared wasn't ready for the dance music. Well, listen, welcome to The Breakdown. What we're going to do each week is break down our sermon from Sunday. And this is an opportunity for us just to kind of unpack what it is that Pastor preached about, talk about some application, and maybe some things that we can do this week to help us along this journey called life that we're on, walking together. So my name is Andrew Bolton. I have with me today Mr. Jared Calais. All right, Jared, tell me, what is one thing that stood out to you today in the message?
Man, one thing that stood out to me in the message, I would say, is when Pastor Robby said that you don't need a PhD or a platform to live out your calling.
That's good.
I feel like, so many of us think we need to get to a certain place or develop a certain following on social media of people listening to us before we can really do something meaningful.
Yeah.
And his whole point was, no. You start where you are, a stay-at-home parent or an Uber driver or a plumber. You have people that you come into contact with, and you have an ability to make a difference in their lives.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. And I kind of started smirking because Pastor actually asked in the sermon, what would Jesus do if he was a stay-at-home mom? I was like, I don't know what Jesus would do as a stay-at-home mom.
I did think about that.
I know. But he did describe calling. He kind of gave it a little definition. Calling is what God created you to do. And I know sometimes before I was in ministry, I kind of had this idea that only people in vocational ministry were able to live out this calling, were able to have an impact on the kingdom. And something I actually learned more recently just through watching my brothers. So my brothers are home builders here in this area. And I remember a situation happened in their business that was like really hard. And they had to choose to take the high road. And in this situation, I saw, wow, they were the hands and feet of Jesus. Like they handled that in such a godly way. And then it hit me. I mean, they are just as much in ministry as I am. I may work here at the church. It may be in my job title, but they will see people on a weekly basis that I will never come across. Yeah. They'll come across situations that I will never be in, and they have an opportunity to be the hands and feet of Jesus and be in just as much of a ministry as I am. And it hit me that they have a calling, right? Like you and I have a calling here at church, but they have a calling. You have a calling watching this right now, and it just may look different.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, you may be the only Jesus, the only church that these people experience.
That's good.
They'll never voluntarily walk into a church or seek Jesus out on their own. But Jesus lives in you, and that's on purpose. He lives in you to be able to reach people who we might not be able to reach as vocational.
No, you're right.
Pastors or people who work at a church.
That's good. So another thing he said was he talked about for a moment that some of you are living out someone else's dream. So what kind of came to mind to you there?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that can go a lot of different ways. I think some of us may try and fulfill either what our parents have expected of us or maybe running from that in the opposite direction, honestly. And I think, too, as millennials, elder millennials on the top end of that frame,
let us lead you.
Like you feel like, well,
millennials.
I have to work and do what I'm passionate about.
Right.
And sometimes you may not be in a job that you're passionate about. And like we said, it's not by accident.
Right.
God has you where he has you for a reason. And so there's absolutely a part of being faithful where you are.
Right.
It's hard to see what God is doing in a situation until you're past it and you look back and go, I wish I would have done better. I wish I could have done that differently.
Right.
Because God was actually teaching me something.
Right.
And I was too stubborn because I just wanted to get out.
Yeah. No, my goodness. So a couple things come to mind when I think about living out someone else's dream. So when I was in high school, I wasn't good at very many things, to be honest with you. Like I couldn't even.
Oh, come on.
I'm just saying. I couldn't even talk. I'm tall for nothing, is what people say. But I mean, seriously, I just wasn't very good at many things. But I was really good at art. I don't even know if you knew that. But
I could see that.
But everybody just kind of pursued me, and this was great, man. Praise God that people were encouraging me to pursue something I was good at. But then I decided to live out their dream for me instead of pursuing what God had for me. Wow. And so I went down that road for a season. I realized, man, I was more worried about pleasing them than I was the Lord. And then another thing that comes to mind just when you were talking about, man, you may not, your 9 to 5 may not fully fulfill you. And sometimes we're looking for a way out. Let me tell you one of the most convicting moments I ever had. I was interviewing for a job. And in that job, they asked me why I left my last job. And this guy was a believer. He knew I was a believer. And I was telling him about how the work environment just wasn't great. And there's all these people that say things and do things that I don't want to do. And man, I just need to get out of that environment. And he looked at me and he told me how judgmental I was. He said, wow, so you're a believer? I said, oh, yeah, man, I'm just so excited about getting to a good environment. He goes, wow, that's really judgmental of you to just want to leave those people and judge them instead of being a witness right where you are. And I literally, I was like, I left that interview feeling so small, knowing I didn't get that job. I actually did get that job, but like I was just so convicted in that moment that God had placed me right there for such a time as that, and I completely missed it. I completely missed that opportunity. So maybe you may be thinking, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I promise you, just like Jared mentioned, like God has placed you where you are for this season, for this reason. And the more you spend time with God, the more you're going to see those opportunities around you to be used by God for his kingdom right where you are.
Well, and one thing that Pastor Robby said at the very end, he talked about what if you gave your goals and your dreams and your hopes and you surrendered all that to God. And I would even say in that moment, what if you surrendered what you wanted or what you envisioned for that may be something that gets in the way, what you think your passion is or think your dream job should be or looks like. Oftentimes it may not. And I would say even no job, no role is perfect 100%.
No, you're right.
Like you could get to the exact place that you think you need to be, and then you're going to get, not get along with this person or not have this perfect. And so like, if you're looking for a job to fulfill you, if you're looking in the wrong place there, that could cause an issue too. Aside from looking to God to fulfill you,
That's good.
Living out your purpose and what you were made to do through following him. I think that's an important.
No, that's good. And I know we would all say we wish that our 9-to-5 job would fulfill us. The reality is that that's not going to be the case for everybody. And we would love to help you find ways that God may be able to use you in a fulfilling way that you feel called to do. Maybe serving at church, maybe serving in another capacity somewhere. We want to help you figure out how God has uniquely crafted you. One last thing maybe that kind of stood out to me, and I can't draw this up here, but in the sermon, Pastor kind of drew a funnel. And at the top of the funnel, he put all these X's of things that you can do, things that you're even good at. And at the bottom, he drew one X, and he was like, this is the one thing that you should be doing. And he talked about how all those other things that we're good at and we can do kind of get in the way sometimes of the one thing that we should be doing, the one thing that we have to do. And he kind of made this statement here that made me think about something else. He said, do what only you can do and delegate what others can do. So do what only you can do and delegate what others can do. And what came to mind is my personal spiritual walk and journey with the Lord, right? Like I can't delegate my spiritual walk to somebody else. We both have kids. You got 4 kids. I got 3 kids. We can't delegate their spiritual growth to somebody else. No. That's something that only we can do and that we have to own.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So with that, us as the church, this is another, I just started taking notes on this. We want to come alongside of you and help you with that, right? So you have to own your spiritual walk. You have to own leading your family, but you're not alone, right? Yeah. Like we exist to come alongside of you and to help you do that. Yeah. So Jared, any last thoughts before we close out the breakdown?
The breakdown, man. It was just such a good message. I took a ton of notes, and there were just so many light bulb moments, right? Especially in that doing things that you're good at. Right. Maybe at the, I don't know the word I'm looking for, at the causing an issue for what you're looking at, right? For doing the best thing,
right? Yeah.
The thing that you should be doing, the must. Yeah. I thought that was really important. I think that may be the case for a lot of us.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, listen, thank you for checking out episode 1 of The Breakdown. I truly believe that God has called you to do something unbelievable for his kingdom and for his glory. He has uniquely gifted and crafted you to do something awesome. Last thought here, Pastor said, calling is what gets you on the mission field, but conviction is what keeps you there. All right, God has a mission field for you right where you are, and we're here to help you figure that out. Thanks for tuning in.